This gets fire.
What's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that? What's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother, what's that, brother? What's that? What's that, brother? Brother,
All right, lad.
All right.
How we doing there?
Doing good. Doing good. We're over it, hopefully.
We are over it. Well, I'm over it. I'm absolute over it. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the stream. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to Nobbins. Hello to everyone tuning in on X, otherwise known as Twitter. Are we doing X or are we doing Twitter? Like, where are we at on this
I refuse to call it X. I mean, I'm sad, so I've set up a shortcut on my phone so that on my phone it still looks like the Twitter logo and the Twitter name. So when I open X, I'm actually clicking a Twitter button. That's how sad I am, because I refuse to call it that. It's Twitter. I tweet. I don't post. I tweet. Yeah? Hold that, Elon. Prick.
Okay. Big up, guys. Hopefully you guys are all right. I don't know what I'm calling it. I'm kind of calling it both. You know what I mean? I just feel like X is a bit of a shit name. Like, I can't lie. Like,
it is.
Out of all the names you could have called it,
of all the letters.
Yeah, you called it a letter, bro. You know what I mean? Like, what makes X so special, isn't it?
You're just a bit obsessed with it.
The W app, like, come on, man. W's in the chat. I mean, that would have been a well better letter. Anyway, here's what it is. A little bit different. There's some news coming out of Spain from George Sipicon that Pep Guardiola is unlikely to extend his contract, and I just wanted to have a bit of a chat, really, about where everyone's head's at in terms of who you want as the next Manchester City manager. Because I can't lie, when we discussed this in the past, because we always have this conversation because it's like it's a topical debate about who you want to be the next Manchester City manager. Like, everyone that was on my list a year ago is now not on my list. So I'm kind of like, I'll tell you who they are. Vincent Kompany was on my list.
Yeah,
I can't lie, it's not really probably on my list right now.
Yeah,
Luis Enrique was on my list, and now I'm kind of like, probably not on my list. Not really liking him. And I think that's pretty much it, actually. I don't know who else was on my list. However, there are now a couple of other managers that have come into the fold about potentially taking over the job. And this guy, George Sipicon from Spain, this journalist, has said Man City at the moment are seriously looking at Mitchell, which is the Girona manager, to come in after Pep Guardiola. He's from Madrid. He's lived in Madrid, Spanish. He's learning English at the moment, apparently, according to this journalist. And obviously, he's working for a CFG club. It makes sense. But yeah, I just wanted to know, like, from you, bro, and the chat as well. Like, who would you get now? If Pep Guardiola was to leave tomorrow, who would you get, or who would be on your shortlist at least?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think the first thing we have to accept is that no matter what names come out of my mouth, it's going to be a significant downgrade from Guardiola. So I might say a name, and then people are like, no, he's nowhere near the level of Pep. Yeah, no one is. So whatever name I try to come up with, it's not going to be good enough, from like in terms of like what we have had. In terms of like what's realistic, people might say, Xabi Alonso. I don't think that's realistic. Like he's going to Madrid almost definitely.
You kind of need
Nagels-
Ancelotti to win the Champions League this year and next year, so he doesn't leave. He just stays there, and then we can maybe get Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, in fact, Nagelsmann, I saw it on like Twitter, X, this morning. Like he's apparently, signing an extension with the German national team. He's obviously a good manager, so that's not realistic. I know lots of people aren't going to like it, but I like Arteta a lot. But let's be honest, he's not going to go from Arsenal to City. That would be very. I like Arteta. Okay, I know lots of people don't. So I mean, the pool is limited. I think it's fair to say. I don't know enough about up and coming managers. I don't claim to watch Thiago Motta's Bologna, but they're apparently a very exciting team. But I don't watch them, so I'm not going to try to comment on them. Same with Atalanta. Apparently, they're a very exciting team. I don't know enough about them to comment on them. So I always go back to what I know, and I know it won't be a popular shout. I really like De Zerbi. I don't care that if Brighton is struggling this season.
Ooh.
I don't care. I don't care. I really, really rate him as a manager. And I think that if you gave him the correct tools, I would be very interested to see what he would be able to build. People are looking at his Brighton side this season. He's lost McAllister and he's lost Caicedo and he's lost however many other players. So of realistic options, I mean, like throw some names at me. Who's a realistic name? That's the issue.
Well, yeah, no, that is the issue, and that's obviously the issue that Liverpool have got. And if Arteta does eventually leave Arsenal because he don't win anything, that they'll have, and if United sack Ten Hag, that they're the market for managers is poor. It is very poor. Football's fallen off. You know what I mean? It has fallen off in terms of talent. And in terms of the
Inzaghi, Inter would be good, but again, I think he's like got a long contract / is going to be signing an extension, so he's not really a potential option either. Like all the exciting options are, either nailed on for another big job at another big club, or they ain't going anywhere from their current job. So again, in terms of, I'm trying to be realistic in terms of what's realistic and what is out there. Brighton obviously have history of allowing other clubs to purchase their managers. It's a limited pool of what we can possibly do. And once again, doesn't matter who we get, they're not going to come close to Pep, and that's just natural. So there's going to be a massive step down no matter who we go for.
Yeah, nah, defo. Keep getting your comments in the chat. I want to know what your thoughts are. Southgate, give over. The article, by the way, from George Sheepy-Con, this is it here. It says it's under control. It said the future is controlled, but it does go on to talk about Mitchell, who's obviously doing a great job at Girona. This is Mitchell's sort of managerial career. Started off his career in La Liga 2 with Rayo Vallecano, finished 12th in the first season, taking it over midway, and then winning the division with Rayo Vallecano in the first season that he had at the football club. That's his first job. You know what I mean? So that's pretty impressive. Then he got relegated straight away in that first season of La Liga. So it's kind of like, I guess, a Vincent Kompany effect, isn't it? He goes into Burnley, smashes it, then gets relegated straight away. Then he goes to Huesca. First season, wins the division again in La Liga 2, but then has a problem when he gets promoted, ended up getting fired with the team in 20th, only winning one game. Look at that. Out of 18 matches in La Liga, he only won one match with Huesca. So clearly, again, struggling just as he did at Rayo Vallecano. But here's where it changed. Something changed at Girona. He went to Girona again midway through the season and finished 6th in La Liga 2, qualified them for the playoffs, won the playoffs. And then his first season last year finished 10th in La Liga. So something changed. Was it the quality of players? Was it experience? He's been in that league twice before and got relegated both times. Did he finally crack the code? Well, something happened, because then this year he's got them currently 3rd with, I think, 6 games to go in that division. So potentially qualifying them for Champions League. So something's happened when he's gone to Girona. Yeah, I mean, and let's not pretend like Girona are stacked with absolute ballers. Yeah, people like to do this, but people like to play down what Girona have done because they're owned by the City Group. You know, it's a madness what they've done there. You know what I mean? And he's done a fantastic job. He works in the CFG, so City know him already. There's these photographs of him with Pep Guardiola, with Tiki, when obviously they've had like intra-group, intra-team like days out and meals and sort of stuff. He's learning English as well, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I say, but just quickly as well, when I've watched Girona this year, they've been very impressive. The way they play the way they play football is very good. Obviously they bought Savio, who is at Girona now, so there's a link there potentially if Mitchell comes in. It's just one of those. It would be a risk, but whoever you get, I think is going to be a risk. I think if you can get Xavi Alonso, based off of what he's done this season, it's probably the lowest risk, but he's still only had 1 year really in football. Like last year, I think he went in like 5-10 games into the season. So every manager is going to be a risk. And I just think we have to just accept that. And there is going to be a drop off, as you said, when Pep Guardiola leaves, but there isn't a manager out there really who's like guaranteed to succeed. Maybe you could argue Zidane, but I just don't think Zidane fancies. I think Zidane just doesn't fancy coming to England. I think he wants the franchise or something.
I don't like the idea of Zidane as a City manager. He's very different to what Man City's and by extension Pep's football philosophy is in terms of like how he coaches. He's much more of a sort of I'm not saying he doesn't have tactics. That's not a fair thing to say, but he's much more from the Ancelotti school in terms of he's much more about the players problem solving themselves and relying more so on individual player quality rather than having set patterns of play which are so strict like Pep Guardiola does. I'm not saying there's a right way or a wrong way to manage, but they are at sort of like two opposite ends of the spectrum. I would like City to go for a manager more in the mold of Pep. Someone who is similar to his philosophy. That's why I said people like Arteta, De Zerbi. If you can get Inzaghi somehow, I think that would probably be the safest bet. Obviously, he's going to win the Serie A this season with Inter. Obviously, got to the Champions League final last season. We know how good Inter are. If you can get anyone in this imaginary world where it doesn't matter, I think Inzaghi is the safest one, who's also not the biggest drop off from Pep, and is also most similar in respects of philosophy, and also has a bit more experience compared to the likes of Thiago Motta or whatever. But yeah, we do. There does need to be an acceptance that there's going to be a big drop off no matter what. I don't think it's going to be cataclysmic, like it was for United, where they go from first to seventh, or like Arsenal with Wenger, maybe even Liverpool with Klopp. I don't think it'll be that much of a drop because City is a very well run club, so we're hopefully well situated to deal with it. But yeah, it's not going to be as good. Obviously, it's a tricky one.
Xavi's an interesting one because obviously he's at Barcelona at the moment, and actually, when I've watched Barcelona this year, they've been better than I expected. Now there have been a couple of performances when I've watched them and they've been really poor, but obviously he's another one that could probably step into the role and get us playing the similar style of football, not to the same quality probably, and not to the same consistency. My problem with him is I have a feeling that I just don't know. There seems to be like a red flag, something not right with Xavi. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because Briggs in the chat says Xavi's won a La Liga and he's Pep apprentice. I get it. I do get it, and I think he'll be on the shortlist. Should we try and do a shortlist? Let's try and do a 5-man shortlist. Mitchell's going to be on it,
right?
Xavi Alonso's going to be on it because we assume at this point he's still not gone to Real Madrid. So he'll be on it. Do you think De Zerbi will be on the? I think he might be. Yeah. Does he play a similar style of football to us, like passing and all that kind of shit?
It's certainly more like progressive and is more akin to Pep's philosophy than, let's say, a Zidane, for example. 100%. I think that would be a nice match.
I'll tell you a name.
Tell me
that crops up. Martin Demichelis, mate.
Hey, is he the River Plate manager?
Yeah, Martin Demichelis.
Yeah, our boy.
Working with
26 pace on FIFA.
Yeah. Bro loves us, by the way. apparently, rumor
I
has
love
it.
him.
Yeah, I like him. I like him. I think he's decent. I liked his
Just
hair.
like,
Apparently, rumor has it that he rang Manchester City and told Manchester City to sign Echeverri.
what an absolute boy.
Now, that's probably BS, yeah. That's probably
Oh,
cap, but it's a nice story, isn't
I
it?
want to believe it though.
It's so do I. So do I. I want to believe it as well. I want to believe it as well. So Dimichelis, River Plate, Echeverri, rang City to sign Echeverri, said you need to sign this guy, he's going to be world class. Like you literally need to sign him. You know what I mean? Take
Mhm.
it in. And to be fair, like Dimichelis, yeah, I remember when Dimichelis come to City, yeah, he got ripped for a bit, yeah. The first time he come in, he wasn't working. But by the end of his career at City, which was a short time, actually, I think there was quite a lot of respect for Dimichelis. You know what I mean? Once he'd sorted his head out and like understood how to defend in the Premier League, like he actually was pretty decent. I remember that game at was it Hull away when Vincent Company got sent off after like 20 minutes
Hmm.
and we ended up winning. David Silva scored a screamer and he marshalled the back line in that game unbelievably. And we needed
Yeah.
to win that game to go to win the title. And he was fantastic. And I think from that day, he had a bit more respect to him. So Dimichelis is probably going to be on the list. But again, he's never managed in Europe, which could be a bit of an issue. But like at the end of the day, like, the way I see it is, is there much different between sort of like a Mitchell and Dimichelis? Like just because Mitchell's managed in Spain, like he's still not managed in the Premier League. Dimichelis has at least played in the Premier League. He's not managed in Europe, and he's not managed in the Premier League, but at least he's played in the Premier League. He kind of gets it. So
Yeah, I guess I just don't know nearly enough about his. Because I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch River Plate, so I don't know how they play. But it would certainly be a nice story, that's for sure. Demichelis came in, helped us win the Premier League title in 13-14. He actually usurped Julian Lescott that season. That's how good his performances were, to be fair. He was actually, he was a very good defender, as long as he didn't have to run. So he clearly had a good tactical brain in terms of he knew where his positioning was supposed to be. So, and I'm guessing that, I'm hoping that correlates. Yeah, look again, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I don't think that's a right or wrong answer. It's obviously going to be a risk, but we don't know if this article has any weight to it. We also don't know, how long Pep's going to be here. Maybe he will extend for a couple more years. Maybe by that time, the likes of Motta, Demichelis, etc., have more experience and will be able to sit here and go, and this is why we should get this manager. Who knows? Maybe Pep will sign another 5-6 year extension, and maybe Gundogan will be available as a manager by then. I don't know.
No, facts. I'm just looking at the points per game for the previous River Plate managers, right? And so far, he's got a better points per game than him. Has he got better? Yeah, better than him. What about Juan Jose? Yeah, better than him. Leonardo.
If we could get Roberto Mancini back from Saudi Arabia, I love Mancini. There he is. In fact, I've got a picture of him in my room. Bring back my boy Rob.
I tell you what, this Dimichelis is not a bad shout. Martin Dimichelis, yeah, at River Plate, right, has the best. One sec. He has the best points per game, yeah, out of any manager at River Plate since at least 2009.
That sounds promising.
That sounds extremely promising. And I could carry on, but I can't be asked carrying on.
Yeah, again, it's just the only question for me is I have no idea how he plays. I don't know if his philosophies. Basically, we mustn't do what Chelsea, Man United, etc. have done in the past in terms of managers going from one philosophy to another to another to another. The key thing isn't even about how experienced or the quality of the manager. For me, the most important thing is does this manager's philosophy tie in with the club's philosophy and Pep's philosophy by extension? That's the first port of call. If it does, then it's already a big tick. It's better to have a lesser manager who at least corresponds with our philosophy rather than a really experienced manager who doesn't correspond with our philosophy at all.
Bro, I've just checked everything, yeah? Martin
Everything.
Dimichelis has the best points per game ratio at River Plate in recorded stats history on Transfermarkt. I have to go back to 2003. Yeah, I've done every manager since 2003 for River Plate. Yeah, so over 20 years worth of data. No manager in River Plate history in the last 20 years has a better points per game ratio than Martin de Michelis, including Manuel Pellegrini,
Oh,
who managed there in 2003, 2004, and including Diego Simeone in 2008, who also won the league with River Plate.
crazy. So what you're telling me is Demichelis is clear of Diego Simeone. That's what you're saying. He's clear.
I think Diego. No, yeah, I think Martin de Michelis is the one.
Crazy. I love how this has come from nowhere, and like within the space of 5 minutes, you've been able to convince yourself that this is the one. I love that.
This is the one, man. This is the one. Nah, listen, I think he'll be on the list. I think Mitchell will be on the list. I'm not 100% sure that De Zerbi is the right one for me. I'm not a massive fan of like his. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that. But listen, it's going to be interesting. We're going to move on from that. But if you want to see the article, go on Google, type in Revelo Pep, and it's the first article that comes up. LB says, not looking forward to Saturday. Braves really think we're going to lose with the amount of changes that are going to happen. I'd be happy with the 4-peat. And, well, listen, let's speak about that. We'll come on to Haaland in a bit. In terms of Saturday, how are you feeling ahead of this game, bro? Because, you know, we just played 120 minutes. We looked knackered by the end of it. We've now got to go to Wembley, which is one of the biggest pitches in England, and play against a team that we've failed to beat twice this year already. You know, do you see you making a lot of changes for this game?
Yeah, I was on the City Report podcast yesterday, and when we were having this conversation, and I think I sort of had to convince myself that we probably are going to have to like rest Rodri, to be honest, because we can't rest him in any Premier League game. That's for sure, because we need him in every single Premier League game. The performances from Rodri in the last few games have been a little bit concerning. They haven't been bad. You know, he wasn't bad against Real Madrid, but my only explanation is that he's clearly rugged. He's clearly tired. The fitness isn't there. If we aren't going to rest him now, then we are never going to be able to rest him. So actually, we can construct a very good team even without Rodri in it. I know it's a massive risk, and people might not like that. But I'm trying to look ahead. He's got to start every single Premier League game from now. So I'd just rather him be fully fit. You know, we saw Haaland and De Bruyne go off with like, you know, potential fitness / injury issues against Real Madrid. They're probably going to have to be rested as well. Foden as well, I think, has played more football than anyone at City this season. So maybe him as well. So I can see a lot of changes this weekend, given the fact we went to extra time, given the congested schedule, and given the fact it's the FA Cup. Obviously, we want to win the FA Cup, but we can still construct a very, very, very strong team without our key players. And we can also still have them on the bench, I suppose, if necessary.
Yeah, you are right. Still on Foden. Foden is still our most played player by minutes, eclipsing Rodri slightly. He's played the most games, Phil Foden, this year out of anyone as well.
It's not bad for a bench player.
It's really not bad for a bench player. Yeah, Rodri's there as well. Yeah, listen, it's going to be interesting to see what team he puts out. You know, we've not got a great record in the FA Cup semi-final because it always comes after the Champions League. You know, I think we lost 3 in a row a couple of years back. You know, the semi-finals. So we've not got a great record here. History tells us, the statistics tell us that, you know, we don't do well in semi-finals because usually it's because Pep rotates because of the Champions League. The one thing I was to say is because we've been knocked out of the Champions League, maybe he'll go a little bit stronger. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll go a little bit stronger. But for me, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking there's still a very, very good starting 11 that we can put out there and some good opportunities 100%. To some players as well. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at Oscar Bob in this game and I'm thinking this could be an opportunity to really test out Oscar Bob and see if he's got not the ability or minerals, but just like has he got it? You know what I mean? Because this is a big game. It's at Wembley. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it, and I think we should throw him in. And I want to go through a little starting 11 and see if we can try and build something here, which is competitive, but also maybe gives rest to players that maybe absolutely need it. So I think we all agree that Ortega would start in goal. So we'll get him there. Kyle Walker. What I don't know, man. I'm conflicted on this guy at the moment. Yeah, I thought he played well on the whole against Real Madrid, but was at fault for the first goal, in my opinion. But he's missed a bit of football, so would you throw him in for this?
I want Rico Lewis to definitely start. So
So that's a
whether
no.
so so you could play Lewis out and out midfield, but I would probably rather Lewis play right back because Walker has just come back from injury and we don't have to. I know we've talked about before how it's not necessarily an issue if Walker picks up another injury compared to other players, but I would rather see Lewis start at right back, yes, and give Walker a rest. Tough game against Vinicius. Thought he did well outside of the pretty bad mistake for the goal. Might aggravate the injury. I think start Rico.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. John Stones to come back in for this game. Didn't start against Real Madrid. Clearly wasn't quite fit enough, or they didn't want to risk him, but did come on in the end for 10 minutes. So surely he's going to be able to start. I'm getting him in here. You agree?
Yeah, definitely. We need the fitness up. We need the sharpness up in Stones for the upcoming games.
Okay, Johnny Stones. Do you give Ruben Diaz a rest?
I think so.
He's our third most played player this season.
Yeah, I think that I would probably have a Kanji in there. I think yes.
Okay, and then can I throw a suggestion in? Maybe get Nathan Ake in. Give him some minutes.
Yeah. If he's able to do that, 100%. I don't know what his fitness situation is, but yeah, I like that.
Okay, I think that's a solid back line. I think that's a good enough back line there to handle Chelsea. You got Ake in there. You've got options in terms of. I've got to say, ball playing ability from the back here. Getting the ball forward, fantastic. Akanji, Stones, Rico Lewis are our three best players on the ball. You throw in Guardiola and it's pass FC. So okay, I think that's. I mean, we're definitely not going to see that back line, but I think that's a cool back line. That's a cool back line. I think he's definitely going to start Ruben Diaz, but I would personally rest Diaz.
Yeah, that's a good defense as well. Make no mistake about it. That's a solid defense.
It's a solid defense. I don't think we're going to, like I said, I don't think we're going to see it. I think Pep's will probably play something more. He'll ham it out a little bit, I reckon. But sure. I'd play that. I'm happy with that 100%. Rodri, you mentioned him earlier. This guy's still going somehow. Do we rest him in this one? But our record without him isn't the greatest.
It's not the greatest, but again, if we don't rest him now, then we are never going to be able to rest him. And I'm just trying to think about the longer term. I'm just trying to think about do we want the performances we've seen of Rodri, against Palace, for example, where I don't think he was particularly good, made a few mistakes. There's a big risk of us seeing that in the future Premier League games. I feel like if we don't actually give him a little bit of a breather, I'm just trying to avoid that situation. That's all.
Yeah, no, I hear it. Let me have a look at our fixtures.
I know we play Brighton on Thursday.
Yeah, so Chelsea at Saturday. Then we play, Brighton on Thursday. So that's what? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you've got 4 days rest after Chelsea. If you was to play him against Chelsea, you'd have 4 days rest. Then it's a little bit shit. He's only got 2 days rest in between Brighton and Forest. That's not ideal. And then he's got a bit of a break there, hasn't he? Between Forest and Wolves. What's that? The 28th is the Sunday. And then we play on the... Oh, so we've got like a week off there. I think you might be able to get away with it, bro.
You probably can. I just want to try. I just want to trust the squads. That's all.
I don't know. Chat, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we can get away with playing Rodri again? It is, he did look gassed again by the end of the game, and it's only a couple of days. But after today, he's got 4 days rest. Then he's got 2 days rest. What do you reckon, chat? LB says rest Rodri.
We can definitely get away with it. I just don't. If we rest him here, and if he doesn't, let's say we win, whatever, then he'll have had like over a week's rest going from the Real Madrid game to the Brighton one, and that's a lot of time for Rodri, who doesn't get any rest.
Yeah. Okay. So what would you do in that midfield then in that situation?
So again, I know it's not ideal, but only Luton, whatever. Kovacic and Nunes in the midfield. Let's pop them in.
Okay.
There we go. So it means that so this is our out of possession shape. So we're making this as a 4-4-2. So it means that when we're in possession, we go to the back three. Lewis can pop up into midfield like alongside Cover. Nunes can push up, and then it's a lovely time. So yeah, this is good.
Okay. Can I swap these two?
Yes, I like that because now it means that when we go to the back three, it means that Stones is our central centre back and Akanji can be the right side of centre back. I like that. Good
Exactly.
shout. This is why you're clear of Pep.
Thank you, Bray. Okay, I want to say something.
Oh my god.
I want to have my input on this team because this is very much a Nobbins team at the moment.
Yeah, sorry, I've taken over. Go for it.
It's okay, Bray. I want to pick the wingers.
Yeah, I think we might pick the same wingers, to be fair.
Nah, joking, bruh. I'm picking Jeremy Doku.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm picking Oscar Bob. But I have
Cheeks, yes.
I have a dilemma.
Is the dilemma where you play Bob?
Correct. That is the dilemma.
Okay.
I don't know whether to play. Here's what I want to see. I want to see Doku on the right spamming crosses in.
I would also play Doku on the right.
And get the ball, spam a crossing. Not like the Ziggy like that, but like, you know what I mean? Get the ball in the box, man. I want to see Doku on the right-hand side. Take on his player, get the cross in the box, man. That's what I want to see. And I think Bob on the left, holding up the play, he can sort of do the Grealish role. Do you know what I mean? I want Doku right wing. But he also played really well once he come off the bench against Real Madrid left wing. So I'm not that fussed. To be honest with you, I'm not that asked if Bob plays left or Doku plays left. I just think we almost need to simplify our game right now because we're not creating no chances for our forwards. Yeah, bar these, crosses into the box, for headers. We need to get back to like creating simple chances for our players in the penalty area. Yeah, and I think putting Doku on the right, he can just take on his man and just spam crosses in, rather than like crossing it with his weaker foot. Yeah, because people say, "Oh, his output's crap." Doku, his output's crap. Well, I got a mint suggestion on that. Put him on the right where he's using his stronger foot. Yeah. You know what I mean, sorry, is that sort of like some sort of bombazzo? You know what I mean, or some like huge news? But playing a player on his stronger foot for crossing is probably better than playing him on his weaker foot, especially when you're moaning about his output and his passing ability and that inside the penalty area. So it's just a thought, but yeah, that's what I would go for. Did you agree? Is that what you would do? Yeah,
100% Doku on the right. You've also got to think of like the last time Doku played Chelsea, he struggled against Gusto, he struggled against Reece James. He might have a better time against whoever Chelsea play at left back, whether that's Chilwell, Cucurella, Colwell, whoever. He's going to have a nicer time. So yeah, definitely Doku on the right. I would suggest, again, Bob, I agree. I would like to see him actually in the midfield.
Yeah, I think, yeah, but I don't think this is the game for that, bro.
Okay.
I agree. I think Bob in the midfield is going to work. Last year when he was in the academy, that was his best position. I've seen him left wing, right wing, and in the pockets for the academy. And there's no comparison. When Oscar Bob was playing in the middle, he was absolutely superb, miles better than he was on the wings. But this, for me, is not the time. Just my opinion, not the time to be playing him in the midfield. I'm game to try it out in pre-season, maybe a couple of times, and maybe going forward next year in the Carabao Cup. But I wouldn't say this one. So would you do that in this game?
I would like to see it. Because in my team, I would be resting Foden. I want a really good pockets player in the middle. So we don't have to do that. This is your team, but I'd just be interested to know. So are you going to start? Are you giving Haaland a rest? Are you going to start Alvarez up top?
Are we assuming that Haaland and KDB and all these guys are fit?
We can assume that. Yeah. I would personally give them a rest, but you guys can go for it. Sorry, you go for it.
This would be my attack.
Okay.
And we'll speak about Haaland. I think there are two options we've got with Haaland now. We continue to play him in this bit of a bad form period and play him out of this bad form patch and play him into form. Or you drop him, you rest him, you give him a week, maybe even 2 weeks, and you bring him back in. I think, given how short the end of the season is, we've got 7 games, maybe 8 if we get to the final. I'm playing him. I'm playing him, man. So for me, I'm full sending KDB, and I'm full sending Haaland.
Okay, no, that's fine. Yeah. It's that's still a very strong team, to be honest. There's lots of rotation, but I don't care. I know we haven't beaten Chelsea, but that team is still good enough to win. I think right. Well, okay. Well, right. Fine. Let's scrap this. Let's get Rodri in the team. Let's get Foden in the team. Let's get Ruben Diaz in the team. Let's get Edison in the team, and let's not arrest anyone, shall we? Let's get Bernardo Silva in the team. Let's just go full strength. Let's not think about the consequences of that. Let's not think about fitness or injury or sharpness. Let's not think about the fact that we've got to win every single Premier League game. Let's not rotate at all. And let's just full send the starting 11.
Yeah,
What do people want? There's got to be a compromise. You again, if we aren't resting X player now, then when are we going to rest X player? That is my question to you. This is a squad game. Ultimately, you've got to trust your squad. We don't have 11 players. We have a squad of players. Bob and Lewis are good enough to start. It is not a weakness starting these boys.
I agree. Here's what I'm saying on Kevin De Bruyne. People in the chat says Kevin De Bruyne can't play. Well, can Foden play? Foden played longer than Kevin De Bruyne. And Foden's our most played player. So you tell me, Kevin De Bruyne, are we seriously going to say against? Well, I mean, maybe you would, not Vince, but I can't get my head around going into a semi-final, and not playing KDB or Foden. I can't get behind that. So I'm playing Kevin De Bruyne, 70 minutes. Yeah, he can come off. Foden can come on.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
And I'm not being funny, yeah, but like, with all due respect, Erling Haaland, like, he might be mentally fatigued, he might be low on confidence, but it's not like he's sprinting around like Bernardo Silva all game, is it?
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be tired in terms of like physically knackered, like Rodri, for example. Rodri clearly is physically screwed at the moment and he needs a rest. Yeah, I get that. Like Haaland isn't that guy. Haaland's not sprinting around like, sprinting like all over the pitch like Rodri is. So I think Haaland can play. You're giving rest to Bernardo. You're giving rest to Grealish. Give De Bruyne 70 minutes, then bring Foden on. Yeah. Rodri's got a full rest. Guardiola's got a full rest. Diaz has got a full rest. Walker's got a full rest. But it's still a very, 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 very strong team. You can't look at that team and tell me, oh, that's an L team. No, I'm not having that, man.
No, it's not. It's not. And once again, I know that we haven't beaten Chelsea this season. I would personally argue that was due to incorrect lineups. Like we continually played Alvarez in like a double pivot with Rodri in both of those games, and we were rubbish defending the counterattacks because of it. So we set up incorrectly in both of those games, in my opinion. So we have a chance to right those wrongs. And I'll say it again. I know that we haven't beaten Chelsea this season, but at the end of the day, Chelsea are a mid-table team. We are a lot better than them and should be a lot better than them. So that team that you just put out, the chat's popping off at it. It's still good enough. It's still good enough to win. Definitely.
Why the chat roasted us, bro? I don't get it, innit?
I don't know. We're not predicting what we think will happen because Pep will probably go a lot stronger because Pep's a madman. He probably won't rest Rodri. But we're trying to look at it from the perspective of we would much rather prioritize. Again, people are talking about sacking off. No, we're not sacking off the competition. We are simply prioritizing the remaining games in the Premier League with an eye on if you don't rest these players now, when do you? But the teams to say this team is dead is to say that our squad is shite, and I think that's disrespectful to.
No, that team is not dead, right? I've got to come up. Ortega, sick goalkeeper. Ake, min. Stones, min. Akanji, min. Rico, min. Kovacic, good at what he does, yeah? Nunes, all right.
I was just going to say, if the main... I'm sure if we just like swapped one of Kova or Nunes for Rodri, I guarantee that the complaints would stop because there's no weaknesses in terms of the lineups outside of Rodri, and we've explained the Rodri situation once again. If he's clearly not at it, he's clearly not sharp and fit. Does anyone want to see a repeat of that Crystal Palace performance throughout the rest of this season? I personally don't. But if you guys do want to see that, if you want to start him and make it so he doesn't get any rest at all, and you just want to make his legs fall off, then you guys go for it. I'm just trying to future-proof and trying to put us in the best position to win the Premier League. That's all.
Let me ask you a question, yeah? could you maybe play him for 70 minutes? Like my theory with Kevin De Bruyne.
Maybe, yeah. Do you want to do that? Do you want to like swap out Nunes for Rodri or something?
So another game that Nunes doesn't play.
Yeah.
Nice. Apparently, it's not a panic buy, or you know what I mean. But another game that you won't play. But yeah, you could play him. You could play him 70 minutes. You know, you could play him 70 minutes, and I don't know.
I don't
I don't
agree
know,
with
man,
that,
because
but no one can. There be no one having a go at this team now. Where are the bad players in this team? Where are the
yeah,
weaknesses in this team?
is this a dead team now that we've swapped one player? That's it. I don't know, man. It's like, you know what it is? I really want to win the FA Cup, right? But I also really want to win the Premier League. And I'm hearing what you're saying about, like, if we can rest Rodri and get away with it, that's unbelievable. You know what I mean? He's had a rest. He has then a further 4 days rest after the game to get himself ready for Brighton away. Which could be quite a big game, really, because they press hard. It's going to be quite an intense game, although they're not very good. You know, it could be physically challenging. So yeah, we'll see, man. But listen, I'd be content. Obviously, I'm never going to be happy with it because I just don't rate. You know, I think we need Rodri. But if that's a team that goes out there, yeah, there's no excuse. And people saying it's not going to be De Bruyne. Well, then it has to be Foden. There's no way. There's no way, yeah, that Pep Guardiola doesn't start this game with no De Bruyne and no Foden. I just do not see a world in which that happens. So if you don't want De Bruyne in there, swap him with Foden. But Foden actually played more than Kevin De Bruyne at the Bernabeu, and has also played the most minutes out of any player in the team.
Yeah.
You know? So
I don't think anyone's going to be happy no matter what we do. We had when we didn't have Rodri in the team, people like it's a dead team. We put him in. They say, yeah, it's good, but then you got other people saying, no, rest him. So you can't please everyone.
I actually think something that probably will happen is Haaland won't play, and I think Alvarez will start.
I think that's probably more likely, yes.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Haaland start. I'd start him. I'd start Haaland because I'm playing him into form. That's my tactics. But I actually think that he's not going to play. Yeah, on Haaland, bro. Before we end the stream, in fact, let me come to some of these super chats, man. Big up to Massam says, I want a midfielder coach. You don't want a defender or a striker.
Deserve is a midfielder.
Was it?
Yeah.
No way. What was Mitchell? You know what Mitchell was?
Ah.
No, I don't know him.
I don't have a Mitchell agenda, so I'm not interested. I've got a De Zerbi agenda, so I am interested.
I've got a Dimichella's agenda. Having checked his stats 5 minutes ago. Big up to LB says, I care about Rodri's record more than this game. LB with the 2.
Yeah, we're still going strong on that.
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently the stats tell us it's still going.
Indeed.
And Massam says, thanks God Nobbins isn't our coach. Why are we getting cut? That was a solid team, man.
But again, I saw Massam in the chat and he said, well, we must start Rodri. And again, these people want to run our poor players into the ground and have them not be fully at it for the more important games later on in the season. That's the issue there. Again, it's not, we can't pick a perfect team given the context of the fitness concerns. Again, you've got to trust. It's a squad game. You must trust the squad at the end of the day. Factual information.
Right, okay, let's speak about Haaland before we wrap up. There's obviously a lot of talk on him at the moment. You know what I mean? This is probably, I would imagine this is probably the roughest part of his career he's had, you know what I mean? Because wherever he's been before, he's scored goals. I don't think he's ever had like a period in his career where he's been getting cooked off opposition fans, off the media. First of all, what did you make of him against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu the other night? I felt that I thought his hold-up play wasn't good. I felt like we didn't play to his strengths. We didn't, I don't think he had a single chance with the ball at his feet. Everything is in the air, which is a little bit frustrating, especially considering that he himself says he's not good in the air. So that's a little bit annoying. His probably best part of the game was when he barged through the midfield with the ball and put in Jack Grealish. And Jack Grealish probably should have done a little bit better, if we're being honest. So yeah, I didn't think he played particularly well. I think he's low on confidence. I think his form is dipped. So yeah, what's your take on Haaland? Is the criticism justified?
It's almost like an impossible situation, isn't it? Because it's evident that we aren't and haven't been for the past few weeks, it seems, just like been playing to his strengths at all. You mentioned it then, the one time where he looked like truly dangerous, where it was very good hold up play from him, and then he played in and he surged through the midfield, and he played in Jack Grealish. And for me, Jack Grealish should have. I know it's not the easiest pass, but outside of the foot cross into Haaland was probably on, but he delayed and went for the shot instead. And that was the one time where Haaland was actually able to run at the Real Madrid defense, and it was a threatening situation. So I think that there's faults on both parties. With everyone knows I'm the biggest Haaland defender, but I'm not going to try and make loads of excuses for him. I think he should have done a lot better the other day. I know he says he's not the best in the air. That's not good enough. You're a tall, strong forward. You should be good in the air. That's something to work on. Sometimes he was giving away the ball. He was still occupying defenders, which was good. But at the same time with City, we aren't utilizing him properly. The amount of like floated crosses which just had no power on them, and we're expecting him to like generate all of it, or they just weren't accurate enough, or we just weren't able to find him. So I think that, Haaland obviously needs to do better, but I think probably more importantly, we need to do better as a club, and in terms of like what we're doing on the pitch to actually get him more involved. There were issues with it last season. We resolved those issues. I'd be very, very surprised if that isn't resolved in the summer. For me, it's to do with the squad and the imbalances in our current squad. Bring in a player like Paquetá, who everyone knows I love. I think he's got, does he have the record for the most through balls in the Premier League, or most success? There's some crazy stat about his through ball ability. That's me.
He's second in the league this season.
Right.
He's only behind Martin Odegaard. He's got 27 through balls this season.
Right, and that's playing for West Ham. So
you know what's mad? Guess who's third?
Is it Kevin De Bruyne?
Cole Palmer.
It
just gets fucking worse every single time. You look at Cole Palmer, he's scoring all these goals, he's getting all these assists, and now he's got the third most through balls.
Yeah, so bring in that sort of player to help our midfield creativity in terms of passing. As brilliant as Foden is, he's more, and he can still create from passing. He's much more about creating via carrying than passing, if that makes sense. So Paquetá is the sort of opposite. He's much more about the passing situation. So I think we bring in a player like that, and that sort of, in a way, it gives Pep more options, and it probably solves a lot of those issues, I think.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I think Lucas Paquetá would be a great addition to this squad, and like you say, he's got the second most through balls in the league. Funny enough, City only have 2 players in the top 16 in through balls, which is Foden and Rodri. So it's not ideal when sort of Haaland thrives off that. And
need more players doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got to say, Gundogan was quite decent at that last year. You know what I mean? He liked to play the balls in behind for Haaland. He had quite a good. He had quite a decent. So last year, right, we had Kevin De Bruyne in second on through balls. We had Ilkay Gundogan 7th on through balls.
Yep.
So this year we've got no players in the top 10 on through balls. Not one player in the top 10 Premier League through balls. Last year we had 2. 2.
Yeah, so that's the job in the summer, to rebuild the squad and to our main guys' strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, listen, I think keep getting behind him. You know what I mean? I think the team has to do better, try to create him chances, but I just think that his confidence is on the floor, and we need to try and get behind the guy. He does need to improve. Like, his hold-up play, I thought, was poor against Real Madrid. Like, he does need to help himself out a little bit. You know what I mean? Because if he's hold-up play and all that's good, then at the end of every game, we can just be like, we didn't create for him. It's the fucking team's fault. But when his hold-up play isn't good either, it's kind of like, well, yeah, we didn't create for him, but his hold-up play was shit as well. So it's kind of like, he needs to help himself first by doing other stuff off the ball better. And if he can do that, then I think the focus will go into the team. But I agree. I think this summer, I think the players that we sign are going to be very much, how can we get the best out of Haaland. I think we have to build a team around Haaland now. You know what I mean? He's the best striker in the world, in my opinion, right? So you've got to create the team around Haaland, and everything from the midfielders to the wingers has to be, how can we create chances for Haaland? That's my opinion. I think otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point in having him? You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
And I think we will. You know, the in the nose in the City community are all suggesting that it's going to be a big window for City. I like the sort of players we're being linked with. We've discussed Paquetá. I do think there will also be, you know, an offensive fullback option thrown in there as well. That was make hopefully, you know, a good crosser, someone who can actually put in accurate crosses for Haaland to latch onto. You know, hopefully low for his feet rather than high with his head. There's a good opportunity to you know, right the perceived wrongs of the last summer's transfer window and put Haaland in the best position he can be to succeed and thrive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder if Musiala could come into that, because I don't know if you've seen the news yesterday, but Musiala is heavily linked with City. Apparently, City are pushing forward with Musiala. Could it be a big transfer fee? I mean, he's another player that has the ability to unlock a defense and can put a ball in behind. So maybe it is. Maybe we'll go for him. But yeah, let's see what we do in the summer anyway. Right. Okay. Anything else, bro, you wanted to speak about before we wrap up?
I don't know. To be fair, I guess just very briefly on the Real Madrid situation. It's chill, you know, guys. We won the treble last season. It's all good.
Yeah, you're not angry either, did you? Me and Nobbins voice noted each other yesterday, chat. Yeah, that's right. Voice noted each other, and yeah, neither of us. I'm not angry, man. I'm disappointed. I'm gutted. I think the players will probably feel like they've let themselves down because the finishing ultimately was what cost them. But I can't be angry at them. You know what I mean? Because they played well. We absolutely dominated Real Madrid, and it's just a shame, man. It's just a shame. It is what it is. I think for me, if I'm looking back, that first goal for them was massive. You know what I mean? I think if we would have scored the first goal, I think we would have gone on and won the game. But yeah, it is what it is. We learn from it, try and improve. And if we can go and win the FA Cup, Premier League double with the UEFA Super Cup in the bag, and the Club World Cup, that's been a fantastic season, 4 trophies. So we'll move it. Dev just says you just can't build around a 9 versus a low block, mate.
You can. You
can't build around a 9 versus a low. I feel like you can get players in the team, Devdra, who can service Haaland with chances.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can get wingers who are better at crossing the ball. Yeah, I mean, you can get midfield players that are better at unlocking a defense. So, for example, we're playing Kovacic a lot at the moment, right? This season, he ain't creating nothing for Haaland. So that's one player straight away out of your midfield and your attack that isn't creating a single chance for Erling Haaland. Last year, that was Gundogan. Gundogan did create chances, as proved by his assist, as proved by the through balls. He comes 7th. So you upgrade Kovacic to someone that can put the ball forward. You know, your wingers in Bernardo Silva and Grealish, can you have a look at that and see, can we get wingers in who can maybe create more chances than those two? Because they don't really create too many chances as well. I think for me, I do think you can get players who can service Haaland with chances compared to what we have this season.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's you definitely can. You definitely can. You just need to sign the right players, and I'm sure we will.
Yeah. I think that the low block makes it more difficult to create those chances.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But you can still get players in that can create chances. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that we really need to do. And obviously we'll focus more on that at the end of the season. But listen, guys, going to wrap it up, man. Big up to everyone that joined. If you're watching on Twitter or X, big up to the 330 people that are locked in right now. Make sure you guys come over to the YouTube channel. It's LB, more LB, and Nobbins, and make sure you give us a subscribe. We do this pretty much every time after the game, the day after the game, or a day or two after the game. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you have hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you have smashed a like. If you're watching back on replay, give us your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Big up to LB with the super chats, Masson with the super chats, and Dedra. So that butchers right. Vedra. There we go. That's how you say it, I think. Big up for the super chats. What have you got coming up, Bray?
I keep saying I was going to make a video about Jack Grealish, but I just like the situation around City keeps changing, so I don't actually know what
You
I'm
should do
going to
Haaland,
be
man. Haaland video would bang.
doing. Yeah, maybe. I was thinking of maybe doing an Akanji video based on his performance against Real Madrid.
Oh, my man, Manuel Akanji. Yeah, get a Manuel Akanji. PR to the moon. Come on, man. Yeah, we need an Akanji video.
But yeah, you know, so those are my videos. But I also do like live streams where it's like, you know, like post match stuff. If you want to go watch my Real Madrid's post mortem, there you guys are more than welcome to, where I break down the game and try to offer some perspective on it.
Mm. Oh, bro, we need an Akanji video now. You can't tease me with an Akanji video and not do it. He's absolutely mega. He is. I'll tell you that now. He's been absolutely fantastic this year. Top 4 players at the football club. Best defender. I've been telling this people for months. People have been trying to tell me it's been Ake. No, it's not. It's been Akanji, bro. Right,
Definitely.
lovely show. As always, guys, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one. See you later.